You want to know what the worst feeling in the world is? Probably getting stung by like 1,000 bees or something. That would suck, I'm not gonna lie. But do you want to know the second worst feeling in the world is? Losing a round that you shouldn't have. I'm talking one of those rounds where you made some like nasty play, got a 4-piece, but you got traded, and then your team somehow loses the round? Like it was a 4 versus 1. Like how did they lose that? And then the enemy team feels all hyped up, they got the momentum, your teammates are tilted, you're tilted, and just nobody's having a fun time. And on top of all that, you guys all start fighting amongst yourselves, and before you know it, like someone rage quits and you guys literally just lost the game. And this happens, I promise you, in every rank. Trust me. So how can you avoid throwing rounds like these? Well, there's several different answers. So today on SkillCapped, we're going to talk about why overpeaking is losing you not just rounds, but literally entire games. So to start, please stop running at the last person alive. You ever play, Call of Duty Zombies? Most people would agree that the zombies are pretty easy to kill, especially early on. Well, if you could do me a favor, stop cosplaying as these zombies in my rank games. One way your team can lose a 4 versus 1 is that if you all just run at the last guy, trampling over each other, trying to get the last kill. Like, there's literally just no need. I mean, I get it. You're trying to get the stat pad, or maybe you're trying to get the team MVP over your teammate. Please think about it. Do you really want to risk losing a round just because you really need that extra kill? Just take a look at this clip that I found on Hiko's YouTube channel.
Yep. I shouldn't have dropped him. I knew it.
Blocking sight.
And he threw it off the map too. Oh?
Oh my god! Now, could you imagine what that has to feel like if you're on the enemy team? They're probably demoralized, tilted, arguing with each other, like I mentioned before. But all they had to do was do anything but what they did. They literally could have all just sat in showers and had a better chance at winning the round than all of them just chasing after that last person alive.
Oh, magic conch shell, what do we need to do to
win this round?
Now, to most of you, this is obvious, but for some reason, I see it so often that it's mind-blowing to me. Barely anyone, as it seems, has the self-discipline to just sit still, play a crossfire, and actually win the round. There's always like 1 or 2 people of you 4 or 5 that has to go run at the last person alive and put their teammates in a losable situation. We have videos going more in depth on crossfires on the channel and the website, so be sure to check those out if you want more information on those. Now, in case you want to learn how to play in these clutch situations that your teammates are putting you in, we at SkillCapped have ready and produced courses I really recommend you check out. In fact, we recently just finished working on our Academy course on the website that is quite literally designed to take you from 0 to 100 in the game. With over 8 hours of exclusive content designed to walk you through everything you need to know how to hit Immortal, I find it hard that you won't rank up. This is also backed by a rank improvement guarantee though, so if you don't like what you see, it's quite literally no risk. So stop sitting around, be sure to check out SkillCapped.com and get started in your journey today. So we just discussed how overpeaking can seriously put your round in danger. But do you know what's worse than overpeaking? Overpeaking by yourself. If you notice your Reyna running at the last guy alive, go run with her. Why wouldn't you? If you don't, your Reyna is giving the enemy a desperately needed 1v1, so why not run alongside him? Maybe use some utility to help him out and get the trade. Here's an example. It's a 3 versus 1 unbind. You're playing as Reyna in U-Haul with your Brimstone. Your Jett, on the other hand, is running out of showers, swinging defender spawn, trying to kill the last guy, taking a 1v1. She loses the fight against the enemy Raze, and her teammates are telling her that you and your Brimstone are both in U-Haul. So she throws her grenade in U-Haul, forcing you to run out, isolates the Brimstone, and kills him. You're getting nervous, Raze has her ultimate and momentum, uses it, and you die. And guess what? Your team lost the round. You know what would have prevented all of this though? If Jett told you that she was swinging, or you noticed that she was swinging, that you could swing with her. From here, it's near impossible for the Raze to kill you both at the same time, and you guys easily just win the round. A quote that I hear often is that if your teammate is throwing, it's always better to throw with them rather than not. As long as you guys are doing something together, it's better than doing something by yourself, even if it's the wrong play. But now you're probably saying to yourself, but Teets, in that Hiko clip, they all got punished for playing together. Yeah, well, don't troll, and they should have killed that guy. That was literally just unlucky. Now, when I say overpeak, there are multiple meanings to it, not just blowing man advantages. If you're playing aggressively every round, you know, maybe by peeking A main on Ascent, for example, and you're just getting dumpstered on, why not stop? Instead of complaining that, oh, this kid's got wall hacks, or, this kid's cheating, or, he's just better than me, maybe you should be reconsidering how you're playing. Maybe the guy you're playing against does in fact just have better mechanics than you do. And guess what? That's okay. You're not the best out there, and you probably won't ever be. Or maybe you're just having an off day. It's okay to not peak aggressively at the start of every round. What I see more often than not are players, especially duelists, playing aggressively at the start of each round. going for peaks, pushing the extremities every round, you want to stop overpeaking and try something else. Maybe, for example, the enemy team's execute just isn't that great. So then you can play somewhere on site, try to get as many as you can, and then that's it. And then after a few rounds of playing on site, then maybe you can surprise the enemy team by taking a more aggressive angle like we've said before. There's nothing wrong with playing on site a few rounds or in a more passive spot to switch up your gameplay, but you don't want to do that too much either, otherwise the enemy team isn't going to use any utility to gain other map control. They'll just run in and dump all of their utility on site, making it near impossible to hold. So, when overpeaking at the start of every round, you really need to ask yourself, are you being predictable? Are you going to get punished for the way you're playing? And if the answer is yes, please switch things up, maybe peek something else, play on site, just don't be predictable. Another form of overpeaking that some of you are probably really familiar with is overpeaking against an operator. This concept should be pretty simple to most of you, but from playing ranked this past week, it doesn't seem like it. If you know the enemy team is using the operator, stop peeking it, without any utility at least. Just please, take a look at this clip from my Immortal 3/Radiant game from the other day. Be careful, this clip is kind of loud, so here's your volume warning. Wanna flash this guy? Nope. Wanna flash the guy?
What do you want me to do? I'm
Flash! Use your flash!
They're just gonna look away, you
Alright. So, to preface, we knew the Chamber had an op because he did the same exact thing last round, which is why I asked my Sky to flash him. Instead, he decided to dry swing it, and I tried to trade him, but we ended up getting collided and, I don't know, unlucky, I guess. And what my Sky said is not right. If you're using an operator, you are never turning a Sky Flash. Let me show you. Obviously, turning a Sky Flash is pretty hard to do, especially when you're scoped in. What that flash does is allow you to take the space while they can't see and scale up the site. This is essentially how you counter an operator. You use utility like a Sova Owl drone, a Phoenix Blind, Jet Smoke, Cypher Cage, Astra Smoke, literally anything to make the operator have to get off the angle. Smokes work well because it forces the operator to take a close range duel that really isn't in their favor, or back up and give said map control. And a good way to tell if somebody's opping is by paying attention to the enemy team comp and their economy. If they have a jet or chamber, odds are they're probably going to opt that game. And if you notice that they can afford one, they're probably going to use one. So by using utility, you cannot overpeak an operator and not throw your rounds. How do you like that? The only issue with this is that it requires a little bit of communication and coordination. So if you don't have good teammates who really don't know what they're doing and they won't talk to you, good luck. Try your best. I don't know, it's kind of hard. You need to work with your teammates to beat an op. Now, we just talked about operators, but the same thing can be applied to offense operators. The reason why people op on offense is because they're looking for people that overpeak things. So needless to say, if you're playing defense against an operator, it's best not to make a play or peak things aggressively against an operator, again, without using utility. Using an operator on offense isn't easy to do as it requires patience and a good understanding of where the enemy is going to peak and look to get aggressive from. It does slow down your team, but more often than not, it finds your team the opening kill. And that's sort of how the operator works. It's a high risk, high reward type of weapon. It can slow your team down, but could also give your team the advantage really early on. And this was all just one in-depth guide that we have on our website though. Also, like I mentioned before, if you want a chance at having your VOD reviewed, be sure to subscribe on our website at SkillCapped.com. We also have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries where we have Radiant players walking through exactly how to play in any situation at any rank. And they're just super helpful to see in real time what goes through a top tier player's head. Like I said, it's also backed by a rank improvement guarantee, and the reason to do that is because we're just that confident that our service works. And if it doesn't work, then you shouldn't pay. So what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose. Head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started on your way to that rank that you deserve. So no matter what your brain dead teammates are doing, whether it's overpeaking, not overpeaking, just play with them. You'll be better off. I mean, unless it's against an operator, then you probably should use some utility to clear them out. Just don't be like my Radiant Sky in that clip. Like, I don't know. How did she get to Radiant, bro? She had a Radiant gun buddy and everything. If she can do it, I promise you guys can do it too. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. And that's all for us. I'm Teets, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.